Madam Chairperson, we shall now invite Mr. Soh Ming Quan from the Postgraduate Diploma in Education Secondary Program to deliver his valedictory speech.
Associate Professor Muhammad Faisal Ibrahim, Senior Parliamentary Secretary, Ministry of Education and Ministry of Social and Family Development, Ms. Chan Lai Fang, Permanent Secretary Education, Ministry of Education and Chairperson of NIE Council, Mrs. Chua Yen Ching, Deputy Director General of Education, Professional Development, and Executive Director, Academy of Singapore Teachers, Ms. Ho Ping, Deputy Chairperson, NIE Council, Professor Tan Un Seng, Director, NIE, distinguished guests, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. I'm extremely honored to be here today as your valedictorian, and more importantly, as your representative of our learning journey here in NIE, as student teachers, as budding educators, and now full-fledged teachers. For us, our journeys at NIE have really been filled with many emotional highs and lows, with learning about what it means to be a teacher, our own teacher identity, and the sheer adrenaline rush that comes with trying to meet all the assignment deadlines and waiting for the turn-it-in rating that comes with every assignment submission. Yet, looking back at our 12-month journey at NIE, what really stands out for me are three key central themes: teacher identity, peer collaboration, and our continuous search for a sense of purpose. One of the first ideas that was introduced to us was the importance of exploring and knowing our own teacher identity, what it means to be a teacher, and what do we stand for in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. How do we conceive our roles and responsibilities as a teacher? And what kind of teacher do I want to be? All these may seem to be rhetorical questions to which the responses may appear to be painfully obvious. However, the responses garnered from the interaction from my peers are anything but obvious. Some of you dream of becoming a pillar of emotional support for students facing emotional challenges by lending a listening ear to them and maybe giving them the occasional high five for students needing affirmation. Some others may draw inspiration from Great Teacher Onizuka, a popular Japanese manga series which features a teacher who uses creative and unorthodox teaching methods to cater to his students' unique needs. It was really during our teaching practice that we truly appreciated the significance of a clear teacher identity. For it permeated every aspect of our work, from lesson planning to the implementation of lesson activities and interactions with the students outside the classroom. Throughout my teaching practice, I found myself asking, what are the learning objectives that I'm setting for my students? At the start, I started off thinking largely in terms of the scientific content and concepts that I wanted my students to learn. My interactions with students quickly changed that. Most memorable was a conversation that I had with my normal technical science class after class 3 weeks into my practicum. So my normal technical science students were asking if it was possible to have extra science lessons and homework on top of the 6 periods they were already having each week. I was, to say the least, very pleasantly surprised. And so, I probed further to find out why they were so positive about science. And the students promptly answered, science lessons are enjoyable because we get to ask questions, we get to find out more about what's happening around us, and we get to talk, we get to move, we get to do things. So it was therefore clear that education is not just the sole effort of myself trying to dictate what goes on in the classroom, but really a dialogic endeavor between me and my students, analyzing their needs and catering to their needs. And therefore, my identity as a teacher was one of a facilitator of learning and a co-creator of knowledge together with my students. During my voyage as a budding educator, this has become a useful frame of reference for me when tackling various teaching issues. Yet, when it comes to teaching identities, I think it's far from static. Our teaching identities have been and will continue to be shaped by our experiences with the events and people around us. I'm deeply blessed to have met numerous wonderful friends from my education studies modules, as well as my chemistry modules and my biology modules. These friends have so generously shared their aspirations, experiences, and teaching ideas with me, Without them, I wouldn't have been able to actually pull through this NIE journey feeling more enriched than before. This collaborative atmosphere of learning, as Professor Tan has earlier mentioned in his speech, has really enriched my understanding of education and served as a pillar of support for me to become more enthusiastic than ever about teaching. In fact, one of the fondest memories of learning in NIE involved me going on a recce trip to the treetop walk in the Central Catchment Nature Reserve. So this was for an assignment in biology on planning field trips for students. So it was for this project that we had to consider the suitability of different nature reserves for their field trip, for the learning value of the field trip, as well as the learning objectives that we want to set for our students. In addition, we also had to consider logistical issues such as transport and parking arrangements for the buses that will ferry the students to the site. Since I did not have much experience in nature walks and field trips prior to NIE, I really benefited from the rich sharing of ideas and experiences from my group mates, Tian Ting, Reverie, and Jia Hao. I will always remember the thrilling and harrowing experience of running away from the long-tailed macaques that were chasing after us when we were in the nature reserve. So long-tailed macaques are what we commonly call monkeys. So they were chasing after us in the nature reserve. Yet, throughout my interaction with my peers, what most stood out for me was the common sense of purpose that we all shared about wanting to make a difference in the lives of our students and providing the guidance needed by our students for them to find their own purpose in life. And for this, the Meranti project that all of us went through was definitely a heartfelt and soul-searching experience. For all of us came from all walks of life with diverse experiences and diverse values. And I think it was really amazing to see how different diverse individuals can come together in the fraternity and work together and exchange ideas. The discovery of a common sense of purpose was definitely a galvanizing force that later brought us together in our service learning teams, which then translated into a more coherent and impactful service to the community. In the same line of reasoning, a clear sense of purpose amongst us not only serves as a beacon that guides our way forward, but it's also a timely reminder of why we chose to teach in the first place. This is especially important when we face challenges in our work. At the practical level, this common sense of purpose also influences how we may wish to impact the learners under our care. I sincerely hope that all of us will continue to uphold this strong sense of purpose throughout our journey as educators. On behalf of my fellow graduates, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to a few groups of people who have supported us throughout our learning journey in NIE. Firstly, our parents and our family members who have served as such strong emotional pillars of support during our NIE learning journey as well as our practicum. At this point, may I invite all graduates to rise and give the warmest round of applause to our family members and parents. Please rise. At the same time, I would also like to thank all our lecturers in NIE, our school leaders, SCM, CTs, and all other teachers who have provided invaluable guidance and mentoring during our teaching practicum. May we also give them a round of applause. Please be seated. And finally, last but not least, I would also like to thank all my course mates for the rich intellectual exchange and emotional support throughout this course. You have all been a wonderful part of my life, and I hope I have been a wonderful part of your life too. While our NIE course may have come to an end, our growth as educators really just begins. I would like to wish everyone all the best in their teaching career and to persevere and show resilience no matter what happens and what challenges may come. Remember our sense of purpose, and let's all work together to impact the lives of our students one at a time. Thank you.